This is Rachel Hill for the African American Cultural Gardens Sankofa web series. And in this series, we're going to bring to you some of the most fantastic people in Cleveland who are changing lives, making impacts. One of the things that we also discuss with them is what does Black history and culture mean to them? And we also talk to them about what do they love about the garden as well. So these are wonderful conversations that we think you should sit down and watch, and you can learn and grow and be inspired, because a garden belongs to all of us and it is so important. But also you need to know about what people in the community are doing to better the community, because we all know that we have better days ahead. Please make sure you stay tuned for all of the episodes of the Sankofa web series, brought to you by the African American Cultural Gardens.
Hello everyone, I am Jaya Waters Clark and welcome to the African American Cultural Gardens Sankofa Education Series. I have with me here Cuyahoga County's Poet Laureate, Honey Bell Bay. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us. You're a Cleveland legend. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me. I am a poet, but before I'm a poet, I'm a social justice activist. I'm an educator for students, and I am a twin. I have a twin sister named
Really?
Sugar. Yes, so
Nice.
Sugar is the force behind Honey. And poetry has always been my lifeline. I've used it in every facet of my life, intentionally or unintentionally. It's the gift that God, I am sure, gave me. Before I was even in my mother's womb, He intended that to be the vehicle that I reach community with.
And you certainly do an amazing job of that. You're so talented. You pour into so many people in the schools, throughout the community. Who's pouring into you? Who inspires you?
Wow, that's a great question. I think having a twin sister who is disabled, we have such a silent twin language. It's Twin Power Activate. She inspires me without trying. So she's the one human on earth that expects nothing of me. She asks nothing of me, so she gets everything from me when the lights are off or the cameras are off at the end of the day. And then young people inspire me. Their beautiful innocence, their giftedness, their expectations of you, and then your right, your challenge to give them a better life than you had yourself. That's my inspiration, my sister, and the youth that look up to me in that innocence. Like, tell me, Miss Honey, like me, and they're expecting you to lay the path for them.
Nice. So let's get back to the youth. You've traveled the world, provided so many amazing opportunities to our youth. Talk about some of the lessons that you've learned.
I think some of the key ones, for example, I'll use the first time I took kids to Paris, and it was very difficult to get some of them passports because you have to have two parents sign off on a passport. And I remember one father refusing to sign the application because the mother had taken him to child support court. And I remember looking at this father and saying, your child, his young, beautiful, innocent self, is gonna climb to the top of the Eiffel Tower and have lunch there. He's going to take a boat on the Seine River. He's going to see the Louvre. He's going to do all these amazing things. Don't you want him to have a better life than you had? Don't you want that? So my lesson there, and even though he still said, lady, I said what I wasn't going to do, and had to get his mother on board to fight for him. And of course she come, boy, you better sign that. The lesson I learned was you always fight for kids to have more than what you had, even when that fight hurts. And so did I get him to sign? Of course. And that young man was on the plane, flying with us to Europe on his first flight. So it's just something I'll never forget. You fight for kids, honey, no matter what, even when it's a dangerous fight, even when you're angry, even when you're frustrated, even when you don't know the end outcome, get in the ring anyway. Just fight for them.
Wow. So I'm sure you've had to fight a lot. And that kind of takes me back to some of the historians that have had to fight for us. Talk a little bit about why Black history is important to you.
I can remember when you talk about poetry, the radio station when I was in high school had a contest where you had to write about Black history. I never thought about this until this very moment. And the lines of this little rap on WZAK, it was A, B, C, D, E, F, G, African American history. HIJKLMNOP, Frederick Douglass, and so I'm going through all of these people. But in essence, it was learning about them that shaped my existence. I went to an HBCU school, but had it not been for me knowing exactly who I am, I would have definitely been lost in that sauce. Mm-hmm. To look up and learn that there was a woman who took $1.50, is all she had, and a junkyard and said, I'm gonna start a school for little black girls. Me? There's no one else in my family with a college education. My siblings didn't finish high school. So to think that this lady, Mary McLeod Bethune, the history, the legacy of her in 1904 was gonna start a school to shape my life. Everything else that would ever happen in my life, I can point back to her. All she had was $1.50, honey. You got more than that. She had $1.50 and 5 little kids, and she wasn't crying and whining about it. Find a grant, raise the money, you do something, but you get back in the ring. So the foundation of these people who laid that destiny for me makes it possible for me never to step out the ring till the fight is over. And the fight is not over until I win, period. So that's kind of their legacy, their struggle, the way they stayed in it with people laughing at them. When Mary McLeod Bethune started the school in the junkyard, it was a joke. They laughed at her. Let's see what you're gonna do with this trash, black lady. She said, okay, see those crates over there? Those crates are my new desk.
Wow.
See those pieces of wood over there? Those are the doors. You laugh all you want. I'm gonna build Bethune-Cookman University on top of your laughter. So it's just always, history teaches me you keep persevering, honey. You keep pressing, and even when it hurts and you get knocked down, you get your resilient self up and you get back in the ring. So I have to have history. It's the foundation of who I am.
Sure, that's good. You seem so motivated. You seem so connected and aware of yourself. How do you stay motivated to keep giving back, to keep pouring into others?
That's a good question. I think there's some hard days, so you're not always motivated. But I think those hard days remind me that there's an end result, and whatever that end result is bigger than me. So at the end of the day, if it's all about you, you're in the wrong fight. So I can't jump out of the ring because there's too many people looking at me and depending at me. If it was all about me, I would have crumbled a long time ago. Right. I would have said, okay, I'm done. This is too hard. I can't make it through. But because it's bigger than me, I'm motivated to stay in the fight. These have a little girl group, my little pint-sized poets. When I look at them, even this morning, and I'm looking at their faces, Miss Honey, Miss Honey, Miss Honey, Miss Honey, what's on the agenda? What are we doing? That level of excitement, I refuse to throw in the towel on my worst day because they expect me, like my twin sister, if I told her I'm getting ready to fly, she believes it. Wow. My twin sister looks at me like I can fly every day. And most days, even when I'm in my prayer time and I'm, God, how do I live up to your expectation and your anointing and your call on my life? It's that belief in those innocent eyes that makes me want to live a life of integrity, that makes me want to fly higher and soar, even with broken wings and broken parts and broken hearts. I'm determined to stay in the game. I am, no matter what it costs me. I'm staying in the game.
That is amazing advice. And you've given some really good information here today. So if you had to speak to your younger self, what would you say?
That's a great question. If I had to speak to my younger self, I would probably tell her, let nothing hurt you for the rest of your life, nothing. And when it hurts, do your best to rebound quickly. Mm-hmm. Don't stay in the place of pain too long because there's more. You just got to turn the corner. You just got to keep going. And it's the same thing I would tell any young girl, particularly when she feels in that broken place. As communities, sometimes we stay in the place of I'll use the word brokenness, or the place of our trauma too long without reaching out and getting help. Get help in the moment of your pain so that you can bounce back and continue the journey that life has for you. Don't stay there. Get up. It's another side of this story. It's just a little comma. You got to read the rest of the story. It's more to your story, more to your journey.
Does Honey get discouraged?
Oh, yes, Honey gets discouraged. But I don't think, I used to say failure's not an option. And I used to tell kids that failure's not an option. That's not true. Sometimes you fail. And when you fail, you get discouraged. However, staying in the place of my failure is not an option. So when I get discouraged, I come from the brokenness of families. If you read the story, you put all the drama and trauma in there. but at the same time, I'm not defined by my trauma or my drama. And when I talk to young people, I don't let them have a crutch either. I never met my father. So what? Never met mine. That is not that I'm not acknowledging your pain, but you are not defined by it. What else do you intend to do with the rest of your life? It's easier to say the scaffolding or the pain has to hold you up. I'm not defined by it. I refuse to. How can I be an agent of God and at the same time my discouragement, my pain, and my brokenness is what goes before me? I don't want that. I want my gifting and my anointing to go before me. And then people may say, oh, she's had a rough life. You can say that, but you can say I'm making a better path for myself and for other people at the same time. So discouraged, yes, but I refuse to stay in that place of discouragement.
That's important, staying there, not staying there and continue to move along. So if you had to encourage a young person that was settled in their despair, what would you say?
I'm going to say to, cry where you have to cry because hurt is real. The other thing we teach, not just girls, sometimes boys too, you better not cry. Okay, well, not crying is just the first sign that you headed for illness.
Yeah.
That you headed not to be well. And we hold that trauma in. There's a great book that came out this year, and it's called What Happened to You. And that book by Dr. Perry and Oprah Winfrey, it talks about how we hold this trauma in. I would tell a young person, find your outlet for that trauma. Talk to a person. Definitely find a trusted source, but deal with it. Putting it on a back burner, oh, it's coming back. There's no such thing as I'm going to put it there and it went away. Okay, 20 years later, it's coming back. It's coming with a vengeance because you gave it some time to grow. So I would tell the person, with that discouragement, we're going to unpack it and we're going to deal with it so that you don't have to deal with it 20 years later through all the stuff that kill our community, alcoholism, depression. No, we're going to face it. Let's face it head on. And that's hard.
It is hard.
That's hard.
That's good. So you mentioned earlier that you have the Pint-Sized Poet. You're the founder of the Distinguished Gentlemen of Spoken Word, an amazing spoken word group. What's on the horizon for you?
You asked some very good questions. I am carving out destiny differently. I have a campaign called Poet and its Power Over Emotional Trauma. So I want to do exactly what we've been talking about this morning. I want to encourage women particularly to talk about your trauma. You are a poet. We all are poet. And we all have power over the emotional trauma. It happened to you, but it's not you. So, and as a community, we just keep that junk. And I call it junk because it just destroys your spirit, your mind, your body even. The body keeps the score of what happened to you. On the horizon, I just want to travel the country, helping women tell their story poetically so they can be free from it and have the life that they were intended to live. And drowning in alcohol and marijuana and whatever else, that is not the answer to it. That junk is still there and coming back for you. So that's what I want to do. I just want to help people deal with the junk that's killing them internally.
Why is the Cultural Gardens important to you?
I think when I have these experiences, when you ask about Black history, and I can remember going to Senegal and going through the door of no return and going to Ghana and going to those castles where our ancestors left. The fact that I feel connected when I'm in Senegal sitting under the baobab tree with the monkey bread falling on you, I should be able to go right around the corner from my own house and have those experiences. I don't have to go to West Africa and feel connected to the earth. I should go to a land that's dedicated for me and take my young people to that same grass and say, this is but some of them may not, their families may not make the journey back to Africa. This is ours. This represents our land. This is the connectivity, this soil to every ancestor that's ever cried a tear through the Middle Passage, through the journey, through civil rights. Every last bit of it, this land belongs to us. And for them to be that connected to the care of it, to the sacred nature of it, to the rest and the peacefulness of it. It's just that important. And we have to see it that important. Our own sacred little Africa all in our backyard.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It makes me want to visit again now. Thanks for that.
Absolutely.
So you're Cuyahoga County's Poet Laureate. Are you able to share some of your talent with us today?
Absolutely. I'll share a small piece of some of my favorite poets, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's great.
So the first poem I ever recited when I was a little person, and I have all my young people recite, is by Langston Hughes. I too sing America. I am the darker brother they send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. But I laugh, eat well, and grow strong. Tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody dare tell me to eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am. And they'll be ashamed, like Maya Angelou, who said, you may write me down in history with your bitter twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like Honeybell Bay said, I am the P, the O, the E, the T, the G, the O, the A, the T, the H, the O, the N, the E. Why should I deny that I'm the real VIP? I'm the twin from EC. I am the P, the O, the E, the T. I'm the reason why Rosa Parks didn't give up her seat. I'm the reason why Harriet sojourned despite being beat. I am the P, the O, the E, the T. That's me.
Oh, wow. That was amazing. Thank you, honey.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a joy.
This conversation has been so inspiring.
Thank you.
Honeybell Bay, congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us for the African American Cultural Gardens Sankofa Education Series. We'll see you at the next one.
The Association of African American Cultural Gardens highlights excellence in the community. Now it's time to see if you know this excellent individual. He is the father of Labor Day, born to free blacks of New Bern, North Carolina. His family moved to Cleveland in 1857. He attended Central High School. He was the first black elected to office in Cleveland. He held the post for 9 years, and in 1881, he won the election to the Ohio House of Representatives. He was elected to the Ohio legislature in 1890, there introducing the bill that established Labor Day as a state holiday. The United States Congress made it a national holiday in 1894. If you guessed John P. Green, then you do know.
Hi, I'm Vishawn Williams, a board member with the Association of African American Cultural Gardens. Be part of Black history and submit your tax-deductible donation today to the Association of African American Cultural Gardens by visiting aacg.org to help complete the 3 pavilions. Every dollar counts when rebuilding our past, focusing on our present, and looking forward to a more brighter, enlightened future. Again, visit aacg.org and make your year-end charitable donations count today.